I pushed this $39 DAC amp to the absolute limit with my test rigs, and honestly, it might be all you'll ever need. Let's talk about it. Now, I'm not going to tell you what this is until later in the video, and that's for a reason. This thing is a pretty crazy value. It measures incredibly well in terms of noise, but what I really want to know is, can it actually power the headphones in my collection? So I took every headphone off the wall and a few out of the bins and powered them on this DAC amp, measuring with the calibrated Brüel & Kjær 5128 the maximum volume that all of these headphones could sustain. Not just hit with their peaks, but actually maintain for a long time. So what are we looking at? Well, we have an analog output right here, a digital input right here, and that's it. The volume is controlled by a computer, your phone, whatever you plug it up to via USB Type-C. There's no battery that you're going to have to replace in a couple of years. It's just simple in and out. I don't want to waste your time. Let's get into the measurements. Again, these are volume levels on the head and torso simulator that all these headphones were able to sustain. You'll see on the far left side we have the Modhouse Tungsten and the Tungsten V2. These are some of the hardest to power headphones in the entire industry. And you'll see here, they were getting above 85 dB. Now, the average person listens somewhere between 60 decibels and 85 decibels on the very high end. So if you're a super, super loud listener, you'll probably end up being on the upper end of your volume level with something like the Modhouse Tungsten. Me personally, that is way too loud for my taste. Now, you'll also notice these little time markers on the side of my graph here. Those are actually the NIOSH, the National Institute of Occupational Safety and Health, standards for how long you can be exposed to a sound before you start experiencing permanent hearing damage. And you'll see that every headphone on this list, aside from the tungstens, you surpass the 60-minute safety mark. So you could only listen at that level for 60 minutes before you start doing permanent hearing damage. In fact, the next step up, 15 minutes of maximum safe listening. There's only 2 headphones besides tungsten under that. The majority of headphones on here are over the 7-minute mark. You could only listen for 7 minutes at this volume safely. And then over half the headphones on this list that I tested, you could only listen to for 2 minutes before you do permanent hearing damage. And about a quarter of them are 1 minute or less. This is producing far more power than you need to listen to music with almost any headphones in this industry. So what the hell is this thing? Well, I'm going to tell you right after I tell you about our sponsor, Saley. I do a lot of traveling to audio trade shows, and staying connected matters. It sucks when you get to a country for work, you look at your phone and, oh, my carrier doesn't support Signal here. That's where Saley comes in. They offer a super easy to use eSIM that you can download to save money, eliminate roaming fees, and stay connected while you travel in over 200 destinations. You can keep using your phone to navigate around, stay in touch with your friends and family, find the best local food recommendations online, and stay on course with your travels. Saley offers 24/7 support and works on both iOS and Android. Just download the Saley app and use code DMS at checkout to start saving on your next trip. Thank you to Saley for sponsoring today's video. So what the hell is this insane DAC amp that can power just about anything and costs $32 on Amazon? It's the FiiO KA11. It's just a dongle. And inside this, I just have one of these little dongles hooked up to either end. That's it. This is hollow. I bought a couple of these, and it's the only thing I needed to bring with me to Can Jam, New York. It has crazy low noise. It has dump trucks of power. It does get a little bit warm, and it makes me feel silly for owning any other DAC amp besides maybe the JDS Labs Atom when I really need dump trucks of power. Now, this doesn't have any quirky features. It doesn't have any EQ, anything like that. It's just a clean power machine on a budget. The only real downside of it is that things like the built-in headphone jacks on MacBooks are getting really good. I mean, if you have a MacBook, you probably don't need this unless you have one of the harder to power headphones on that list. But if you do have a harder to power headphone, or you just don't have a MacBook, yeah, this straight up solves the problem. Plug this into the USB-C port on a desktop computer and you're done. This is better than the single most expensive DACs in the entire industry were when I first got into this hobby. And that is absolutely wild. I mean, you could pay for like a $500 DAC amp back then and not get something nearly as good as this. You could buy a $2,000 or $3,000 DAC and not get something as good as this. And that's really it. It's another video about good audio is getting cheap, cheap audio is getting good. Price does not correlate with sound quality, and vote with your wallet. Catch you guys soon. Peace.